All right, part 2 of worksheet 24 review. Now, I want to make something clear here, right? The urge to just skip through the video and copy everything down and have an assignment to turn in, I understand that that urge is high, but with this work, with these word problems, you really need to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. So these explanations that we're going to go through here are super duper important. Even if you've already got it done, even if you are confident that your work is correct, hearing an explanation and working through each component of these problems is essential, because a majority of our test on Friday is going to be stuff like this: real life situations, finding M and B, writing the equation, and understanding what each of these parts represent. You have plenty of time when I'm not going to be here, so I really, really want you guys to watch these videos in their entirety. Don't skip forward, don't increase the speed, anything like that. Just watch, listen, and try your best to understand. Something doesn't make sense, just go back, rewatch it again, see if it makes sense the second or third time around, okay? So, number 3, Cheyenne is a member at Planet Fitness, a gym that charges an annual fee of $44 plus a monthly fee of $10. Now, I'm stuck here already because I don't see per in my question at all. So let's, again, think about this logically. If you're paying an annual fee of $44, right? That's something that you only have to pay once within a year. Pay once in a year. So if you remember from before, our one-time payment is always going to be our B. That's our initial value. So my B here will be 44. Just to start out, if you want to go and walk into Planet Fitness, sign up for a membership, you're paying $44 just to sign up, but that's something you only have to worry about paying once in that year. Now the monthly fee, that's kind of like our hidden per term, because you're paying $10 per month, right? That's going to be over and over and over again. So the amount that you're paying over and over will be $10. Talking about within the year, so that 44 is a one-time payment, $10 is getting paid over and over and over again each and every month. So when we see monthly fee, we can think of it like per month. All right? So there's our M, there's our B, our equation. Y is equal to 10x plus 44. Just like before, if we want to know what x represents, we look at the units of our slope. 10 was my slope, and we're talking about $10 per month. So x is not going to represent the amount paid per month. That's our M. X represents the number of months. Right? Look at our equation. $10 per month. If you're going to the gym for 2 months, you're paying $10 times 2 months. That's $20 total. Ignoring the B for a second. Right? The annual fee is our B. So Y is going to represent, as always, the total cost of your gym membership within a certain amount of time, right? This equation is a function of time, where you plug in a certain number of months or an amount of time for X, do a little bit of math, and you get a total cost of your membership as a result. In our next unit, Unit 5, we're going to be talking about inputs and outputs, and we'll get into all that. But for now, let's just focus on this. So Y is your total cost of your membership, right? Now we got to figure out, how much would it cost Cheyenne to be a member at Planet Fitness for the entire year? Entire year. So this is where things get a little bit tricky, right? We have to break up the entire year in terms of X. We don't know how much it would cost. That's what we're trying to find. So how much would it cost is always going to be our Y. for the entire year. I don't really see a number for me to plug in for X here, but I do know that X is the number of months. So if we're talking about an entire year, that's my X. We're talking about 12 months. Hopefully we know by now that there's 12 months in a year. So that's going to be our X in this case. This should have been done in black. That's my bad. I'm really picky with the colors there. So yeah, X is the number of months. Anyway, so how much would it cost Cheyenne to be a member of Planet Fitness for the entire year? A year is 12 months. X represents my number of months. I'm going to plug in 12 for X. Y is equal to 10 times 12 plus that initial cost just to sign up of $44. That's just kind of hanging off on the end. That's our B. Remember, B is where we begin. You begin the year by paying $44. Every month after that initial payment is $10 on top. So $10 over the course of 12 months gives us $120 plus our initial payment of $44 gives us a Y value of 164. Not 164 months. Y represents the total cost of my membership. So my answer here is $164 total. $120 in monthly recurring payments. Recurring means over and over again. That's our M. Plus the $44 it costs to sign up. That's our B. Now let's say you don't want to go to the gym for an entire year. Cheyenne only wants to go to the gym for 6 months. For whatever reason, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. 6 months is still our number of months. So we're still going to plug in 6 for X, unlike what we saw in question number 2. So how much would it cost Cheyenne to be a member for 6 months? Well, if we're paying $10 per month for 6 months, plus the $44 annual fee, doesn't matter if you're a member for 1 month, 6 months, 12 months, you're paying that $44 outright, right? Annual fee of $44. As soon as you sign up, you fill out your little application or whatever, you're paying that $44. You could quit the gym the next day. You still paid that $44, right? And now we'll solve this. 10 times 6 is 60. So $60 in monthly payments over the course of 6 months. That makes sense. $10 for 6 months. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $60. Add these together, and we get 104. Again, that is the total cost for being a member of this gym for 6 months. So it's $164 for a full year, $104 for 6 months. You may look at this and go, well, if I'm only going to the gym for half the amount of time, shouldn't I be paying half the amount total? Well, yes and no, right? Because look, our monthly payments for the year were $120. Our monthly payments for half the year were $60, and 60 is half of $120. But like I said, if we want to understand the context of this problem, we have to understand that you're paying $44 just to sign up, no matter how long you plan on being a member. So $120 in monthly fees plus the $44 initial cost means we're paying $164 for the entire year. $60 in monthly fees plus that same $44 initial cost mean that we're paying $104 in total for 6 months of attending the gym. All right, that's number 3. Again, if something didn't make sense, please go back, take another listen. Listening to this over and over is how you're really going to understand what we're doing in these problems. let's go down to number 4. Number 4 is a little bit like number 2, right? Number 1 was like number 3. Number 2 is like number 4. So Gerardo has $500 in his savings account that he received from his grandmother on his birthday last year. I'm going to stop right there. When we're determining M and B, remember, M is happening over and over. B is only happening one time. No matter what the context of our problem is, this is always going to be the case for M and B. So if Gerardo received $500 from his very generous grandmother on his birthday last year, well, that's only happening one time, right? It's not saying Gerardo gets $500 each year or per year. He got that $500 one time from his grandmother last year. So right away we know that B is 500. Let's move on. Each month, per is just like another word for each, right? Each month, per month, same thing. He deposits, which means he's putting money in, right? Withdrawing would be taking money out. He deposits $750 from his paycheck into that savings account to eventually buy a cheap used car. Okay? So this is something that you guys might be faced with in the next couple of years, probably not anytime soon, but I'd say like 3 years before you're driving, but eventually you're going to need to get your first cheap used car. It's part of life. So Gerardo starts with $500 in his account. He gets a job, and each month he works, he's putting in an additional $750 into that account, right? So he's putting in $750 over and over again, but to begin, he put in that $500 he got from his granny. So that $500 was just a one-time thing. The $750 is over and over and over again. That's how we can understand that $750 is my M and $500 is my B. All right? Now, unlike the other 3 previous problems, we're not spending money in this case. We're saving money, right? So Y is not going to represent the total cost, but it will represent the total amount in savings. So in a way, it still is the total cost, but instead of putting his money towards a gym membership or an Uber ride or a stuffed animal order, he's putting his money towards saving for a car. So Y is always the total amount of something, whether it's the total amount spent, total amount saved. Either way, it's going to be the total amount. X is pretty much always going to be, well, not always, but whenever time is involved, X is going to be representative of time. Okay, so Y is money, X is time. X here is going to represent the number of, well, I got to check my slope. $750 is what he's depositing into that savings account each month. So the units of my slope are months, $750 per month. So X will be the number of months. Hopefully you're noticing a pattern here when it comes to what X represents and what Y represents. All right. Almost forgot to write my equation. Y is equal to M, which is 750, X plus B, which is 500. So, number C, or I guess question C, says, how much money will Gerardo have in his savings account after 1 year? And this time we get lucky. We receive the information that 1 year is equivalent to 12 months. So how much money? We don't know the total amount in his savings account. Y is the total amount in his savings account. So we don't know what Y is. We do, however, know the number of months that we want. X represents the number of months, so 12 will be my X. Just like before, Y is unknown, so we'll leave it as Y. That's what we're trying to find. Oops. Let me restart that. Y is equal to my equation 750 times the number of months, which in this case is 12. X is the number of months. 750x, 12 months. Hopefully by now you kind of see how we're setting this up. Plus that initial $500 he threw in the savings account after his grandmother spoiled him on his birthday, right? Let's get our friendly calculator here. $750 times 12 months means that he's adding up $9,000 a year, adding to his account $9,000 in one single year. So $9,000 plus that initial $500, all we got to do is add those up, and we get $9,500 as our Y. Again, the units for Y, total amount in savings, so we're talking about $9,500. So if he deposits $750 a month over and over and over again for 12 months, along with that one-time deposit of $500 from his grandma, after one full year, he'll have $9,500 in savings. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. All right. Sorry about that. So, let's say the cheap used car that Gerardo wants to buy is $5,000. Let's see how long would it take for Gerardo to have that $5,000 saved up at this rate here. So how long would it take? That means we don't know the amount of time. So X is my amount of time. That's going to be our unknown variable. The total amount in savings that we want to achieve is $5,000. Like we said, Y represents the total amount in savings. So $5,000 will be my Y. Just like in number 2, we're going to plug in 5,000 for Y. So this Y here is now 5,000. We're depositing $750 each month. X is my number of months. And we don't know how many months it would take to save that much money. So X will stay as X. Don't forget to add on that additional $500 that Gerardo received from his grandma. Just like before, in number 2, we'll have to do some inverse operations to get X all by itself so that we know how many months it would take to save up that money. We want to get rid of this initial value first. The opposite of plus 500 is minus 500. We got to make sure we're subtracting it from both sides. 500 minus 500 cancels out. And 5,000 minus 500 gives us 4,500. Now we've got 750 times X equals 4,500. If we're multiplying these two, the inverse operation would be to divide, and we must do it to both sides. 750 over 750 cancels out to 1, leaving us with X on the left, and 4,500 divided by 750 gives us a nice even 6. So we got to think about our units, right? We're either talking about months or dollars. Obviously, $6 doesn't make sense for our units. What we were looking to answer in this question is how long would it take? So X is equal to 6 months. It would take Gerardo 6 months of depositing $750 a month plus that $500 one-time deposit from his grandma in order to save up $5,000. So, I know that was a lot, but hopefully you get a little bit better understanding of how to go about these types of problems, how to work through them logically, and how to understand each of these specific components. I really, really hope you started to notice a pattern as we went through these. I know it was only 4 questions, but with a question that requires this much work, it's going to be kind of unrealistic to give you like 12, 20 questions on a worksheet like that. So if anything about this doesn't make sense, like I said, go back, rewind, rewatch those certain parts, see what kind of gaps you need to fill in, and then we could talk about it on Wednesday when I get back.